Have you ever wished you could change your life just by thinking about it? Well, you're in luck, because that's exactly what Neville Goddard's teachings are all about. His ideas can completely transform your life by showing you how to use your imagination to create the reality you want. It might sound too good to be true, but stick with me and I'll show you how it works. Now you might be wondering, why should I care about some guy's ideas about imagination? Here's the thing. If you don't learn to use your imagination properly, your life might stay the same forever. You could be stuck in the same job, the same relationships, and the same problems year after year. But don't worry, because anyone can learn these simple techniques. It doesn't matter how old you are, what you do for a living, or where you come from. These ideas are for everyone. Let's start by talking about who Neville Goddard was. Born in 1905 in Barbados, Neville was a regular guy who became one of the most influential spiritual teachers of the 20th century. He wasn't born special or gifted. In fact, he started out as a dancer and actor, struggling to make ends meet in New York City. But then he discovered something that changed everything: the power of imagination. Neville spent years studying different spiritual and philosophical ideas. He read the Bible, explored mystical teachings, and practiced meditation. But what made him different was how he put all these ideas together. He realized that our imagination isn't just for daydreaming or making up stories. It's actually the key to changing our lives. So what's so special about Neville's teachings? Well, for one thing, they're incredibly practical. He doesn't ask you to believe in complicated theories or follow strict rules. Instead, he teaches you how to use something you already have: your imagination. Neville believed that the world we see around us is actually a reflection of our inner thoughts and beliefs. This means that if we want to change our lives, we need to change our thoughts first. It's like having a superpower that you never knew you had. Another thing that makes Neville's ideas stand out is how simple they are. He doesn't use fancy words or complex explanations. He talks about big ideas in a way that anyone can understand. For example, he often used stories from the Bible to explain his ideas, but you don't need to be religious to understand them. He saw these stories as symbols for how our minds work, not as literal truth. Neville also taught that we're all connected to a greater power. He called this power many things: God, the universe, or simply consciousness. But the important thing is that we all have access to this power through our imagination. It's not something outside of us that we need to beg or pray to. It's something that's already inside us, waiting to be used. You might be wondering why we're talking about a guy who lived decades ago. What makes his ideas still relevant today? Well, there are a few reasons. First, Neville's teachings work. People who use his techniques often report amazing changes in their lives. They find better jobs, improve their relationships, and even heal from illnesses. Of course, these things don't happen magically overnight, but many people find that using Neville's methods leads to real positive changes. Second, Neville's ideas fit well with modern science. We now know that our brains are incredibly flexible. Scientists call this neuroplasticity. It means that our thoughts and beliefs can actually change the structure of our brains. This lines up perfectly with what Neville taught about the power of imagination to change our reality. Third, Neville's teachings are empowering. In a world where we often feel powerless, his ideas remind us that we have control over our lives. We're not victims of circumstances, but creators of our own reality. This is a powerful message that resonates with people today just as much as it did in Neville's time. Lastly, Neville's ideas are flexible. They're not tied to any specific religion or belief system. This means that people from all walks of life can use his techniques. Whether you're religious, spiritual, or neither, you can apply Neville's teachings to your life. Now that we know who Neville was and why his ideas matter, let's dive into the basics of his teachings. At the core of Neville's philosophy is the idea that imagination creates reality. This might sound strange at first, but think about it. Everything in the human-made world started as an idea in someone's mind. Neville taught that our imagination is not just a tool for creativity, but the very foundation of our reality. He believed that the world we experience is a reflection of our inner thoughts and beliefs. This means that if we want to change our outer world, we need to start by changing our inner world. But how does this work in practice? Neville explained it like this. When you imagine something vividly, you're actually experiencing it in a very real way. Your brain and body don't know the difference between a real experience and a vividly imagined one. This is why you might feel scared watching a horror movie, even though you know it's not real. Neville taught that we can use this principle to our advantage. By imagining the life we want as if it's already real, we can start to change our thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Over time, this leads to real changes in our outer world. One of Neville's key ideas is what he called the power of assumption. This means acting as if what you want is already true. It's not about pretending or lying to yourself. Instead, it's about fully embracing the feeling of having what you desire. For example, if you want a new job, Neville would tell you to imagine how you'd feel if you already had that job. What would your day look like? How would you interact with your colleagues? What would it feel like to do the work you love? By assuming the feeling of already having what you want, you start to think and act differently. You might notice job opportunities you would have missed before. You might feel more confident in interviews. You might even start developing skills that make you perfect for your dream job. This power of assumption works because it changes your self-image. When you assume the feeling of being the person you want to be, you naturally start to become that person. It's like trying on a new identity and finding that it fits perfectly. Neville emphasized the importance of using all your senses when imagining. He taught that the more real you can make your imagined scene, the more powerful it becomes. This means not just visualizing, but also imagining the sounds, smells, textures, and even tastes associated with your desire. For instance, if you're imagining living in your dream home, don't just picture how it looks. Imagine the feel of the doorknob in your hand as you open the front door. Hear the sound of your footsteps on the floor. Smell the scent of your favorite meal cooking in the kitchen. The more vivid and detailed your imagined scene, the more real it becomes to your subconscious mind. This multisensory approach to imagination is powerful because it engages more of your brain. When you involve all your senses, you're creating a fuller, richer experience in your mind. This makes it easier for your subconscious to accept the imagined scene as real. Another crucial aspect of Neville's teachings is the importance of feeling. He taught that it's not enough to just visualize what you want. You need to feel the emotion of having your desire fulfilled. This feeling is what Neville called the secret of manifestation. Why is feeling so important? Because emotions are the language of the subconscious mind. When you combine a vivid mental image with a strong emotion, you're sending a powerful message to your subconscious. This is what really starts to shift your beliefs and ultimately your reality. For example, if you're imagining financial abundance, it's not enough to just picture a large bank balance. You need to feel the relief, security, and freedom that come with financial stability. When you can genuinely feel these emotions as you imagine, you're much more likely to see results in your outer world. Neville often talked about the need for persistence and faith in using these techniques. He understood that change doesn't always happen overnight. Sometimes it might seem like nothing is happening even when you're doing everything right. This is where faith comes in. Neville taught that you need to have faith in your imaginal acts, even when there's no external evidence of change. He compared it to planting a seed. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust that it's developing underground, even though you can't see it yet. In the same way, when you use your imagination to create change, you need to trust the process. Keep imagining and feeling your desire fulfilled, even if you don't see immediate results. Neville assured his students that if they persisted, they would eventually see their imaginal acts bear fruit in the physical world. One of the most interesting aspects of Neville's teachings is his emphasis on the present moment. He taught that the only place where we can create change is in the now. The past is gone, and the future hasn't happened yet. All we have is this moment. This might seem to contradict the idea of imagining future events, but Neville explained it this way. When you imagine your desire fulfilled, you're not really thinking about the future. You're bringing that future state into your present experience. You're feeling and experiencing your desire now in this moment. This focus on the present moment is powerful because it stops us from getting caught up in worries about the future or regrets about the past. Instead, it encourages us to use our creative power right now in this moment. It's worth noting that Neville often used stories from the Bible to illustrate his teachings. However, he interpreted these stories in a unique way. He saw the Bible not as a historical document, but as a guide to the human mind and imagination. For Neville, the characters and events in the Bible were symbols of psychological states and processes. For example, he saw the story of Jesus not as a literal historical account, but as a parable about the power of imagination to transform our lives. This interpretation allowed Neville to draw profound insights from biblical stories, regardless of one's religious beliefs. He used these stories to explain complex ideas in simple, relatable terms. Neville divided his teachings into two main categories: the law and the promise. The law refers to the principle that imagination creates reality. This is the part of his teaching that deals with manifesting specific desires. The promise, on the other hand, refers to a deeper spiritual awakening. Neville taught that as we use the law, we eventually awaken to our true nature as one with God or the universe. This awakening is what he called the promise. While the law is about getting what we want, the promise is about realizing that we are already complete and whole. It's a shift from seeking fulfillment in external things to finding it within ourselves. Neville Goddard's ideas have had a huge impact on modern spirituality and self-help teachings. Many popular concepts today, like the law of attraction or visualization techniques, have roots in Neville's work. What sets Neville apart is the depth and simplicity of his teachings. He didn't just offer quick fixes or positive thinking. He provided a complete philosophy of life based on the power of imagination. Today, people all over the world continue to study and apply Neville's teachings. There are books, websites, and online communities dedicated to exploring and sharing his ideas. Many people report life-changing results from using his techniques. Neville Goddard passed away in 1972, but his ideas continue to inspire and transform lives. His books and lectures are still widely read and studied. In fact, many people feel that his teachings are more relevant now than ever before. In a world that often feels chaotic and uncertain, Neville's message of inner power and personal responsibility is deeply empowering. He reminds us that we have the ability to shape our lives and our world through the power of our imagination. Moreover, Neville's teachings align well with modern understanding of psychology and neuroscience. The idea that our thoughts and beliefs shape our reality is now backed by scientific research on neuroplasticity and the power of mindset. So how can you start applying Neville's teachings in your own life? The first step is to become aware of your thoughts and imagination. Notice what you're imagining throughout the day. Are you focusing on what you want or what you don't want? Next, start practicing deliberate imagination. Set aside time each day to imagine your desires as if they're already real. Remember to use all your senses and to feel the emotions associated with having your desire fulfilled. It's also important to watch your self-talk. Neville emphasized the power of I am statements. Instead of saying, I want to be successful, say, I am successful. This might feel strange at first, but it's a powerful way to reshape your self-image. Another key aspect is to act from the state of your wish fulfilled. This means behaving as you would if your desire was already true. This isn't about pretending, but about aligning your actions with your imaginal act. Remember, change doesn't always happen overnight. Be patient and persistent. Keep imagining and feeling your desire fulfilled, even if you don't see immediate results. Trust the process and have faith in your imaginal acts. As with any powerful teaching, there are some challenges and misconceptions about Neville's work. One common misunderstanding is that his techniques are a form of wishful thinking or denial of reality. This isn't the case. Neville taught active imagination, not passive daydreaming. Another challenge is the temptation to use these techniques for manipulating others. Neville was clear that we can't control other people's free will. Instead, he taught that as we change ourselves, our relationships and interactions with others naturally change too. Some people also struggle with the idea of taking full responsibility for their lives. Neville's teachings can be challenging because they ask us to look at how our own thoughts and beliefs have created our current reality. This can be uncomfortable, but it's also incredibly empowering. It's also worth noting that Neville's teachings aren't about ignoring problems or avoiding action. Instead, they're about changing our inner state so that we can take more effective action in the world. As we've explored, Neville Goddard's teachings offer a powerful approach to personal transformation. By harnessing the power of imagination, we can reshape our beliefs, our self-image, and ultimately, our reality. What makes Neville's ideas so compelling is their universality. Whether you want to improve your career, relationships, health, or spiritual life, these techniques can be applied. They offer a way to tap into your inner power and create positive change in any area of your life. Moreover, Neville's teachings go beyond just manifesting material desires. They offer a path to deeper self-understanding and spiritual growth. As we practice these techniques, we often find that our desires change. We may start by wanting external things, but we often end up discovering a sense of inner peace and fulfillment. One of the most beautiful aspects of Neville's work is how it empowers individuals. In a world where we often feel at the mercy of external circumstances, Neville reminds us that we have the power to shape our experience. This doesn't mean that challenges won't arise, but it does mean that we have the tools to face those challenges with courage and creativity. Neville's teachings also encourage us to dream bigger. Many of us limit ourselves based on what we think is possible, but Neville taught that the only real limits are the ones we place on ourselves. By expanding our imagination, we can open ourselves to possibilities we might never have considered before. Another powerful aspect of Neville's work is its focus on the present moment. In a world that's always pushing us to worry about the future or dwell on the past, Neville's teachings bring us back to the now. He reminds us that our power to create is always in the present moment. Neville's ideas also offer a unique perspective on failure and setbacks. Instead of seeing these as permanent obstacles, Neville taught us to see them as feedback. If something doesn't work out as we imagined, it's an opportunity to revise our imaginal act and try again. The power of imagination, creating your reality. Imagine if you could shape your world just by thinking about it. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, according to Neville Goddard, that's exactly what we're doing all the time. He taught that our imagination isn't just for daydreaming or making up stories. It's actually the tool we use to create our reality. Now you might be thinking, come on, that can't be true. I've imagined winning the lottery plenty of times, and it hasn't happened yet. But hold on a second. Neville wasn't talking about wishful thinking or random daydreams. He was talking about a much deeper, more powerful use of imagination. Think about it this way. Everything in the human-made world started as an idea in someone's mind. The chair you're sitting on, the device you're reading this on, even the words you're reading, they all began as someone's imagination. Neville took this idea a step further. He said that not just physical things, but our whole experience of life comes from our imagination. So how does this work? Neville explained it like this. Your brain doesn't really know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. Have you ever had a really vivid dream that felt totally real while you were in it? Or gotten scared watching a horror movie even though you knew it wasn't real? That's because your brain responds to imagined experiences almost the same way it responds to real ones. Neville said we can use this to our advantage. By imagining the life we want as if it's already real, we can start to change our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Over time, this leads to real changes in our outer world. Let's say you want a new job. Instead of just hoping for it or worrying about not having it, you would vividly imagine yourself already in that job. How would you feel walking into your new office? What would your day look like? How would you interact with your colleagues? The more real you can make this in your mind, the more powerful it becomes. Now you might be wondering, if imagination is so powerful, why isn't everyone using it to create amazing lives? Good question. There are a few reasons. First, most of us aren't taught to use our imagination this way. We're told that imagination is for kids or artists, not for serious stuff like work or relationships. So we don't practice using it deliberately to shape our lives. Second, it takes effort and consistency. Just like building a muscle, you need to exercise your imagination regularly to see results. Many people try it a few times, don't see instant changes, and give up. Third, we often use our imagination in negative ways without realizing it. We imagine worst-case scenarios, replay past mistakes, or picture future failures. This kind of negative imagination can actually create the very things we're afraid of. Lastly, it can be scary to take full responsibility for our lives. It's often easier to blame outside circumstances for our problems. But when we accept that our imagination creates our reality, we have to face the fact that we're responsible for our lives. That's empowering, but it can also be challenging. Now that we understand the power of imagination, let's talk about one of Neville's most important techniques, living in the end. This is a powerful way to use your imagination to create the life you want. Living in the end means imagining that you've already achieved your desire and then living from that place mentally and emotionally. It's not about pretending or lying to yourself. Instead, it's about fully embracing the feeling of having what you want. Here's how Neville explained it. If you want something, imagine that you already have it. Feel the joy, the satisfaction, the relief, whatever emotions you'd feel if your desire was already true. Then, carry those feelings with you throughout your day. For example, let's say you want to buy a new house. Instead of focusing on the fact that you don't have the house yet, you would imagine that you're already living in it. How does it feel to wake up in your new bedroom? What's it like to cook in your new kitchen? How do you feel when you invite friends over? By living in the end, you're not just wishing for something to happen. You're actually changing your thoughts, feelings, and actions to match your desire. This, in turn, starts to change your outer reality. Choose your desire. Pick something you want to manifest in your life. It could be big or small. Create a scene. Imagine a short scene that would happen if your desire was already true. Make it simple and believable. Use all your senses. As you imagine your scene, involve all your senses. What do you see? Hear, smell, touch, taste? Feel the emotion. This is crucial. Feel the emotions you'd feel if your desire was already real. Joy, relief, excitement, whatever fits your scene. Repeat regularly. Do this exercise every day, preferably right before sleep and just after waking up. These are times when your subconscious mind is most receptive. Live from that state. During your day, recall the feelings from your imagined scene. Act as if your desire is already true. Let go and trust. After your imagination session, let go of your desire. Trust that it's on its way to you. Remember, this isn't about forcing things to happen. It's about aligning your inner world with what you want and then letting life unfold naturally. Let me share a success story to show you how powerful this can be. There was a woman who desperately wanted to move to a new city, but she didn't have the money or job prospects to make it happen. She started using Neville's technique of living in the end. Every night before sleep, she would imagine herself waking up in an apartment in her dream city. She'd imagine the view from her window, the feel of the keys in her hand, the excitement of exploring her new neighborhood. She did this consistently for weeks, really feeling the joy and excitement of already being there. At first, nothing seemed to change, but she kept at it. Then, out of the blue, she got a call from a friend she hadn't spoken to in years. This friend was starting a business in the exact city she wanted to move to and offered her a job. Within a month, she had moved to her dream city with a new job and apartment that matched what she had been imagining. This story shows the power of living in the end. By consistently imagining and feeling her desires already true, this woman aligned herself with opportunities that made it a reality. Now that we've talked about living in the end, let's dive deeper into why feeling is so crucial in manifestation. Neville Goddard always emphasized that it's not enough to just visualize what you want. The real power comes from feeling the emotion of having your desire fulfilled. You might be wondering, why is feeling so important? Isn't it enough to just think about what I want? Well, here's the thing. Your subconscious mind, which is really what drives most of your behavior and attracts experiences to you, doesn't understand words very well, but it understands feelings perfectly. When you combine a vivid mental image with a strong emotion, you're sending a powerful message to your subconscious. It's like tuning a radio to the exact frequency of what you want. Your subconscious then goes to work, guiding your actions and attracting opportunities that match that frequency. For example, if you're trying to manifest a new job, it's not enough to just picture yourself in an office. You need to feel the satisfaction of doing work you love, the pride of earning a good salary, the joy of working with great colleagues. When you can genuinely feel these emotions as you imagine, you're much more likely to notice job opportunities, perform well in interviews, and attract the right position to you. Make it vivid. The more detailed your mental image, the easier it is to feel the emotion. Use all your senses. Use memories. Think of times in the past when you felt similar emotions. This can help you recreate the feeling. Use your body. Your body and emotions are closely linked. Smile, stand tall, or dance as if your desire is already true. This can help generate positive emotions. Practice gratitude. Feeling grateful for what you already have can help you generate positive emotions about what you want. Let go of resistance. If you notice negative thoughts or doubts, don't fight them. Just gently return to your positive feeling. Remember, the goal isn't to force yourself to feel something you don't. It's about gently guiding yourself into the emotional state of having what you want. Choose something you want to manifest. Close your eyes and take a few deep breaths to relax. Imagine a scene where your desire is already true. Make it as vivid as possible. Now focus on the feelings. How do you feel in this scene? Happy? Relieved? Excited? Peaceful? Let that feeling grow stronger. Where do you feel it in your body? Stay with this feeling for a few minutes, just enjoying it. When you're ready, open your eyes, but try to carry that feeling with you. Do this exercise regularly, and you'll get better at generating and maintaining positive feelings. This is a key skill in manifestation. When you start working with Neville's techniques, you might run into some doubts and fears. This is totally normal. Let's talk about some common concerns and how to deal with them. One common doubt is this really going to work? You might think, I've tried positive thinking before and nothing changed. Remember, what Neville taught goes beyond just positive thinking. It's about aligning your whole being, thoughts, feelings, and actions with what you want. Another doubt might be, am I doing this right? There's no need to worry about perfect technique. The key is consistency and genuine feeling. If you're regularly imagining your desire and feeling the emotions of having it, you're on the right track. You might also wonder, why hasn't it happened yet? Manifestation isn't always instant. Sometimes things happen quickly and sometimes it takes time. Trust the process and keep going. Neville understood that fear can be a big obstacle in manifestation. Here's some of his advice for dealing with fear. Recognize that fear is just negative imagination. When you're afraid, you're using your imagination to picture something you don't want. Once you realize this, you can choose to imagine something better instead. Use revision. If you catch yourself imagining something fearful, revise it. Imagine a positive outcome instead. Remember your power. Fear often comes from feeling powerless. Remind yourself that you have the power to shape your reality with your imagination. Focus on the present. Fear is usually about the future. Bring your attention back to the present moment, where you have the power to choose your thoughts and feelings. Use your imagination positively. Instead of trying to fight fear directly, focus on vividly imagining what you do want. The positive image, if you persist, will eventually replace the fearful one. If you're feeling discouraged or doubtful, remember this. You're learning a new skill. Just like learning to play an instrument or speak a new language, it takes practice. Be patient and kind with yourself. Every time you choose to imagine something positive, you're making progress. Your desires are valid and possible. You wouldn't have the desire if you didn't also have the ability to achieve it. Even if you don't see results right away, trust that things are shifting beneath the surface. You're not alone in this journey. Many people have used these techniques successfully. Remember, you're not trying to force the universe to give you something. You're aligning yourself with what's already yours. Keep practicing, stay persistent, and trust the process. Your imagination is a powerful tool, and as you learn to use it consciously, you'll be amazed at the changes you can create in your life. Practical application in daily life. Now that we've covered the core principles of Neville Goddard's teachings, let's talk about how to apply them in your everyday life. It's one thing to understand these ideas, but the real magic happens when you start using them regularly. You don't have to start with big, life-changing goals. In fact, it's often better to begin with smaller, everyday desires. This helps you build confidence and see results quickly. Here are some ideas. Finding a parking spot. Before you leave home, imagine pulling into the perfect parking spot easily. Feel the satisfaction of finding it effortlessly. Having a great day at work. In the morning, take a moment to imagine your workday going smoothly. Feel the sense of accomplishment at the end of the day. Enjoying a peaceful commute. Imagine arriving at your destination feeling relaxed and refreshed. Feel the calmness in your body as you picture this. Having a fun social interaction. Before meeting friends, imagine the gathering being enjoyable and lively. Feel the warmth and happiness of good company. Solving a small problem. If you're facing a minor challenge, imagine it being resolved easily. Feel the relief and satisfaction of the solution. Remember, the key is to not only visualize these scenarios, but to feel the positive emotions associated with them as if they've already happened. Consistency is crucial when working with Neville's techniques. Here are some tips to help you stay on track. Set a regular time. Choose specific times each day for your imagination sessions. Many people find just before sleep and right after waking to be effective. Start small. Begin with just a few minutes a day. You can gradually increase the time as you get more comfortable with the practice. Use reminders. Set alarms on your phone or leave notes for yourself to remind you to practice. Make it enjoyable. This shouldn't feel like a chore. Find ways to make your imagination sessions fun and exciting. Be patient. Don't get discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Trust the process and keep going. Integrate it into your routine. Look for opportunities throughout your day to briefly imagine positive outcomes. Keep a manifestation journal. Write down your desires, your imaginative scenes, and any results you notice. This can help you stay motivated and track your progress. Tracking your progress can be a great way to stay motivated. Here are some ideas. Keep a manifestation journal. Write down your desires, the scenes you imagine, and any results you notice, big or small. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge every positive change, no matter how small. This builds momentum and confidence. Notice synchronicities. Pay attention to coincidences or unexpected opportunities that align with your desires. These are often signs that your imaginal acts are working. Share with supportive friends. Talk about your experiences with people who are open to these ideas. Their encouragement can help keep you motivated. Review your progress regularly. Take time each week or month to look back on how far you've come. Adjust as needed. If something isn't working, don't be afraid to change your approach. Experiment with different techniques and see what works best for you. Remember, the goal is progress, not perfection. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a success. Now that we've covered the basics and practical applications, let's dive into some of Neville's more advanced concepts. These ideas can take your manifestation practice to the next level and offer a deeper understanding of how reality works. One of Neville's most fascinating ideas is the concept of Everyone is you pushed out. This means that everyone in your life is a reflection of your own consciousness. The way people treat you, how they behave around you, even what they say to you. All of this is a mirror of your own thoughts and beliefs. This doesn't mean that other people aren't real or don't have free will. Instead, it suggests that your experience of others is shaped by your own consciousness. If you believe people are generally kind, you'll tend to encounter kind people. If you expect people to be rude, you'll often find yourself dealing with rudeness. How can you use this idea? Start paying attention to your thoughts and beliefs about others. If you notice patterns in how people treat you, look for corresponding patterns in your own thoughts. By changing your beliefs about others and yourself, you can change the way people interact with you. Another powerful concept Neville taught is revision. This is the idea that you can change your experience of the past by reimagining it. While you can't change what physically happened, you can change your memory and emotional response to past events. Choose a past event that still bothers you. Close your eyes and imagine the event happening differently in a way that feels good to you. Make this new version as vivid as possible. See it, hear it, feel it as if it's happening now. Do this regularly, especially before sleep. Over time, you may find that your emotional response to the memory changes. This can help heal old wounds and change patterns in your current life that stemmed from past experiences. Neville also talked about the idea of infinite realities or parallel worlds. He suggested that all possible versions of reality already exist, and we're simply choosing which one to experience through our imagination and beliefs. This concept can be mind-bending, but it's also liberating. It means that the version of reality where you've already achieved your desires exists right now. Your job is simply to align yourself with that reality through your imagination and feeling. How can you use this idea? When you're imagining your desires, think of it as tuning into a reality that already exists, rather than trying to make something new happen. This can help reduce resistance and increase your belief in the possibility of your desires. We've covered a lot of ground in exploring Neville Goddard's teachings on the power of imagination. From the basic principle that imagination creates reality to advanced concepts like revision and infinite realities, these ideas offer a powerful framework for transforming your life. Remember, the key to success with these techniques is consistent practice and genuine feeling. Start with small, everyday desires to build your confidence. Use your imagination regularly, especially just before sleep and upon waking. Pay attention to your feelings and cultivate the emotion of your wish fulfilled. Don't be discouraged if you don't see immediate results. Manifestation is a skill that improves with practice. Celebrate small wins, stay patient, and trust the process. Every time you choose to imagine something positive, you're making progress. As you continue to work with these ideas, you may find that your whole perspective on life shifts. You might start to see the world as more malleable, more responsive to your inner state. You might discover a sense of empowerment and creativity you never knew you had. But perhaps most importantly, you might find yourself living more fully in the present moment. Because when you trust in your power to shape your reality, you can relax and enjoy the journey, knowing that you're always on the path to your desires. Neville Goddard's teachings remind us that we are not victims of circumstance, but powerful creators of our own experience. Your imagination is a gift, a tool for shaping your reality. Use it wisely, use it often, and watch as your life transforms in beautiful and unexpected ways. Remember, the world is your imagination pushed out. What will you choose to imagine today?